Hi, good day. Welcome to my tube. My name is Margie. I'm a Hilk Empath. I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. I feel pretty good today. I had kind of a rough landing into my soul sack this morning when I woke up. I was so hot. Benny was right up against me, and he was hot, and I was hot. And then, see, I believe we all feel in frequency and energy and everything. We're just energy, so... And some energies have a lot freaking higher temperatures than other. I run hot as it is. I got a lot of fire. Well, I don't got a lot of fire. I got Aries Sun and Aries and Chiron in my 10th house. So I got, and Aries just, moved into Mars, or Mars just moved into Aries, I should say. The constellation in the sky, the planet sitting in Aries or retrograde. And so, and it don't really, and not everybody's going to have the same experience, It's just, so I woke up and I was real hot and freaking breathed through it and came grounded and into my soul sack, and sometimes I get nervous. I've always been, I had to work real hard to keep fear from me, keep fear away, because I have tendencies to be a fearful person because a lot of scary stuff happened to me when I was a little girl. So then it's just like, that the potential's out there, so you're always just kind of aware. You're just paying attention, because you've let your guard. I've let my guard down before, and it's been to my detriment. So it's not to say that I'm always guarded, because I don't always got a reason to be guarded, So I'm stationed on the 45th parallel right now. I'm trying to. Change my situation real fast as I can, really. If I got a place to go today, I'd freaking put moves in motions to make it happen, So, anyway, it's not as smoky out today. It's day 3. I don't know where the fires are, the percentage of containments. I know that yesterday they were about 10 miles away, and I can't spend too much time in that fear. I just know that if we got to go, that I'm ready for us to go. So I'm not going to freaking sit on that edge, And it's not moving this way. I believe it's moving more north. And yesterday the air quality was better. I was sad to see a young man, 12 years old, lost his life running from the fire. And I know that there's more stories that are coming out. And I thank you for your contribution to Source, your love at this time. So we all pick and choose when we come and go, and they contribute their spirit to Source at this time. It's helping because we need the support. There's a lot of hard stuff, and the road is not over, and it's not going to become paved and lined with good intentions of everyone. Of all the people. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about a couple of talks I listened to this morning. I really like Pockets of the Future. He just came across my radar not too long ago, and he put out a little blip this morning. Gucci Air talks about her abuse and family, and it's like, who didn't know that? It's like, why are people surprised? I think about how many people, I don't know anyone that has had the Rona personally, that, like, just for no apparent reason without a secondary, yeah, a lot of people that, maybe they have, but they've had underlying conditions, so it don't add up in my mind, so it don't count. And, but I think about all the abuse that has happened to me in my life, and then to so many women and men that I know, because it's a vicious cycle, and there's a storyline. People want to talk that down because they profit and they benefit from it, because they are the ones that are doing it, and they have been putting themselves in position. Ask yourself this: how many people that that get the Rona, and then ask yourself how many people that that have been abused by somebody, by the hands of somebody that they knew, that they cared, they trust, and then in his talk about the Gucci guy doing that, and the mothers know, the grandmothers, they know it's a sickness. It's they want their baby to be happy, they want their men to be happy, and so whatever is gonna, it's just twisted and it's weird and it's chasing sensation. See, I'm a prude. I always been a prude. I and people, I never understood why people are like, you're a dyke, you're a lesbian, you're gay, you're this, you're that. I'm like, dude, I don't like all women. I just like one, and I haven't even met her yet. So to call me all these names and to talk down to me about this stuff, it's like you don't even know me. I'm a total prude when it comes to like anything else beside a monogamy. But within that monogamy, it's different. But people get caught up. And we've been given these tools, whatever tools you want to put, they're everywhere. You're not supposed to be chasing sensations and running after money and ego stuff, and then yet the whole world, that's all the world has been made to do. It's been taught to do. I looked up the word indoctrinate this morning. Indoctrinate. It is it's so goofy, like the definitions that they choose. I swear it cracks me up. Indoctrination. The process of teaching a person or a group accept a beliefs uncritically. And then the quote, their example is, I would never subject children to religious indoctrination. Right? Well, why do they have freaking Catholic schools? I found out a lady I listened to, she went to Catholic school from like kindergarten to like her whole life through graduating. And I was like, man, there's so much that you don't know, but I went to public school. It's just, but people are absolutely indoctrinated, and we've been indoctrinated in this idea. I mean, I think about history books. History was the only class I failed because I just knew it was bullshit. I knew it was bullshit, I'm pretty sure, if you came over and took land from people, and they're not going to sit down and freaking gleefully eat a meal with you. Happily, no. And like people are like, have promoted this storyline of freedom, but we ain't free. They've been lying this whole time. It was like this whole big old thing, and if people aren't helping, then they're a part of it. And it's hard to watch, and it's gross. And then you know what I think about? I think about vibration, It's like how many people endorsed that pervert just by wearing Gucci. Now he was saying that she probably shot herself in the foot but you know what? I don't think she shot herself in the foot, because if she's the heir to the Gucci, then that will, maybe she could change the heart space of it. Maybe she could help a lot of other people that have been abused in her position. And maybe Gucci doesn't have to cost as much. Maybe it's a new Gucci. I never liked Gucci. I don't like fashion. I think there's at this point in the game, there's too many people that are suffering than for freaking people to be spending that much shit on landfill. It's all landfill. Yeah. I used to be into the whole scene, man. I was freaking running in the rat race with the biggest rats in the race, And, well, when I moved to Oregon, I was made to stop, and I came into my spirit. What else? Indoctrination of a nation. It's just, this is how it is. You go to school and you learn the things that you're assigned to learn. I never got to learn. I wanted to learn how to I wanted to take auto shop and stuff like that, and no, you can't. It's all that indoctrination of what you can and can't do. I remember when they wanted me to do activities and stuff, find my niche, find where I fit in, and they had me go to brownies. First of all, I don't like dressing in skirts and dresses and stuff like that. I don't like it. It's not comfortable for me. And so, and then they put, and all that stuff, and then I remember they had me look over into a mirror and recite stuff, and I was just like, this is weird. I don't want to do this. And then what it occurred to me is I recoiled from all the things all that ritual stuff. And my mom had a boyfriend, Larry, when we were real young, and he was a Vietnam vet, and he knew about all that satanic cult stuff. And so I just have been looking out for it for my whole life. I haven't been ignoring it. I've just been trying not to get wrapped up in it. And I've done a pretty good job. Except, well, No, there's no really exception. I done a pretty good, except for those years that I fell off the wagon and I let my ego take over my spirit. That's what the exception is. Yeah. So, but I don't do that because I realize that my life isn't just for me and for my creature comforts and my joys and my chasing sensations and my ego. My life is intended to help people be more secure within themselves, and hopefully help teach people to speak and talk through their emotions instead of stuffing them down, because that's when people get angry and mad and resentments happen, is when you don't talk about things. And I know that because I didn't for years, because people aren't going to get me what I want anyway, because I don't even know how to find the people, because I'm one of those that's like, you didn't have kind, loving relations with your parents, so it makes it real hard to legitimately find those kind and loving relations within other people when you don't have that pattern down. If you don't know what that vibration of care and concern and love feels like, I can only imagine. So I learned to take care of myself and to be kind and loving to myself. And so what I do is I try to take that and treat other people with that. And maybe they will treat me back with that same kindness. And unfortunately, it hasn't really been met in the real life. Now in the intangible, I appreciate people reaching out to me yesterday. My father figure called me. It was really disappointing, you have Facebook, you got 455, friends or whatever. It's like, well, ain't nobody gonna see about old Marge? See if Marge and her mom are, ain't nobody care, that I know. Because I didn't know how, because when I met them all, I didn't know how to care about myself. But now that I know how to care about myself, I know how to see it in other people. That's why I try so hard to reach out to people, because I see me in you. And that is the true intimacy. Into me, I see you. When I look into me, I see you. And we are all the same. We're just not all scared at the same time. Most of the time I'm brave. Most of the time I'm very, very brave. And I want to thank the people for, I'm brave right now. I'm brave today. I'm not, it's sometimes when I get a little too much into my heart, then it throws off the balance between my inner child and my spiritual warrior, because we're all full spectrum. We all got it all. We all got the shadow. We all got the darkness. We all got the potentials to do the creepy, pervy stuff. It's just, are we putting ourselves in the way to do it? Or are we disciplining and keeping our energy field and our spirit clear of lower vibrational, those things that make people want to do that? I know what it's like. My demons are frustration, anger, fear. I can lash out spitefully with my tongue. I'm not a violent being. I don't hit. I so freaking rather smack a wall. I learned a long time ago to never close fist, but I'll smack a wall, and I've broken blood vessels and stuff like that. Just because I'm like, we have energy, kinetic energy in us. Stomp my feet. I'll stomp my feet. I'll run in place. I'll freaking put on a really fast moving song and dance it out. Whatever. It's just like, you gotta get your yayas out. There's a girl I knew when I was at junior high, that her mom babysitted this little baby, and they'd sing the shake the yayas out. You gotta shake your yayas out, get all that out. When kids are young, they got so much of it, and what the thing of it is, if you allow them and put that in a constructive way, then oftentimes they can use that for creative energy, But a lot of people don't know about stuff, so it falls on deaf ears. When I was a little kid, my parents, nobody knew what to do with me. I was always tested for everything. It's just because I always lived from my heart and I told the truth. And when you're, in a society like that we're in, there ain't a whole lot of place for truth, because then the pervy pervertins wouldn't benefit. What else? This was on a talk by Demetria Candelaria. I like them. Demetra. building, and then it's a meme. The media isn't about child sex trafficking. The media isn't silent about child sex trafficking because of the children. It's silence because of who the customers are. And, well, yeah. How come nobody's talking about, I saw one article, I got feathers. Somebody sent me feathers. I'm very grateful. Is this a picture of them? Because they're out in the living room. I don't want to get up. Because the subscriber, I don't know if she wants me to say her name or not. So I appreciate them. I love them. Because I want to have a headdress one day and a costume where I can dance around Heyoka. And so she had these sent because I'm scared. To make me feel better, and it matches the orange one I found the other day. So that was cool. What else was I going to talk about? I had notes. Because I listened to stuff last night. What I'm trying to do here is because I wasn't always a very gracious being. For a long time I lived in fear and I was scared, so I reacted from anger and just being mad, you know. And it's not really inviting when you're just, you know, I got to tell my face that I'm happy a lot of times, because then people are like, "What's wrong with you?" And then I hate it. That annoys me. So what I'm trying to learn to do is I'm trying to learn to age gracefully without racking up too much negative karma. Because I feel like the last 3 years have been me cleaning up the last of my negative karma, so I'm really trying not to rack it back up by acting belligerently and angrily and burning, you know. Because that's what I've done before, and this is what the astrological alignments are doing right now, is they're giving us an opportunity to relearn old behaviors and old programs. And I always blew up my life before. And I don't want to blow up my life anymore. I don't want to go angry. I don't want to go away angry. I don't want anybody to be mad at me. I'm just ready to get to my next place to really start living my life, because I really haven't been living it much, you know, in the way that I think God intended, you know. Well, obviously I have, because if I haven't, I wouldn't be in the situation I am. But I really do believe that I've learned the lessons that I'm supposed to do, and I'm ready to take what I've learned and take it out and share it with other people that want to know about it. See, I'm not here for people that, you know, I'm not mainstream. Heyoka is never going to be mainstream, because even if everything if everybody started looking at the way that I looked at things, I would freaking walk behind the crowd, tap them on the shoulder, and be like, "But what about that over there?" So, you know, I'm a contrarian. I'm just always thinking different, even within myself. You know, oh yeah, that makes sense. No, I don't really think that. Oh, yeah, okay, that adds up. Oh, okay, I could see that. But you know, the thing of it is I also know that I'm never gonna know if anything's 100% true at all. I just got to do what's in alignment with me and my belief system, and my alignments are things that are alignment with, as I understand, God, source, Jesus Christ, all, you know, the love vibes. And it took me years to freaking be okay with serenity, because I was wound so high. I didn't even know how to relax. I didn't even know how to wind down. I mean, I did when I was younger, when I'd smoke weed, flower, stuff like that. And then I went to the Air Force, and then I went to recovery, so I didn't have all those buffers. So I had to really learn how to feel my emotions. And then, you know, when you have physical pain can get twisted up with emotional pain and cause a lot of, you know, confusion differentiating those two. So it's just a lot of, I'm okay. When the world is constantly putting stuff in your face to make you believe that you ain't okay because you need them, and, you know, and this and that, and it's a race of ratness, and people have been made to slow down, and they're doing their own researches, and they're saying, yeah, it adds up. They're all creepy perverts, you know. Yeah, it adds up, you know. I mean, Clinton, why, you know, they're all you know, I'm okay with being approved, because at least, you know, At least I'm not always worried about chasing sensations. You know, and I mean, now the evidence is coming out, and it's people aren't surprised. They're not surprised. It's just like, yeah, you know, because we all know somebody. We're all more likely to know somebody that's had something dirty happen to them by somebody, the hands of someone they know or trusted, you know, and then that breaks trust, and then you create people that break trust, and then it's the whole vicious cycle. But there's too much goodness to be had in this world, and people aren't fearful people unless they're taught to be scared. You know, and I was never taught the kind, loving way. I was never taught it. I just have always sought it out. I taught myself. I taught myself how to be kind and loving, even when I want to erupt and just freaking, I mean, I always picture stuff like cartoony stuff in my head. That's why I like that show Woke right now. I've been watching that a couple episodes. Because I picture stuff, because you gotta make everything, you gotta make light of everything and everything funny, you know. So like, I'll be in traffic and stuff, someone will cut me off, and I'll freaking blast them with their fireball, you know, and their with the cartoon explosion and everything, and stuff like that. And then what I came to find out is there's karma that's tied to that too, and you can't even fake me, you know. I always wanted to like act and be a star and stuff, but there's so much stuff about Hollywood and all that creepy world that I just hated. Like, it didn't align with me. Like, I couldn't, you know, I didn't understand when I was real little. I'm like, okay, they're actors and they're actors, so they don't really love each other. They're kissing each other and they act like they're kissing each other and they act like they like, but it's just a pretend. And they're like, yeah, and I just always thought that there was stuff that was wrong with that, you know. And then, like, growing up, and then I was introduced to the other darknesses of the world, like snuff films and stuff like that. I was 14, 15 when and those aren't fake, people. Those aren't fake. Life imitates art, and art imitates life, and all the stuff that, you know, so people can. It's funny because the Q-berts, the QBs, where we go one, we go all. We're all connected. It's mainstream now, folks. So now you're gonna start seeing what us data collectors have been seeing for years and years. I've been collecting data for years and years, and I've worked at some of the biggest companies in the world. It's the third largest company in the world at that time. It's, you know, and so I know who they are. They're all the same. I was in the government. I've worked in I started out in restaurants. I just always put myself in paradigms to see where I'd fit. And the thing of it is there are always these nasty, seedy groups of people, and it's like, no, I don't want to be here. There's no spirit in this, so I'd move on to something else. You know, so when after I got out of the Air Force, and I went and worked in West Corp. That was a shitty place to work. That was probably the worst place I ever worked. I could probably do a whole talk on West Corp. Go look up West Corp. So they're the ones with the phone systems, the phone lines, with all the paradigms that are now freaking crumbling. ESPN, you know, those, like, you chase credit cards, those phone, you know, they just, you know, AT&T customer calling, you know, all that, they used to call on American Idol and vote, you know, for the next American, that's who you'd vote. You know, or you'd call to, you know, all that stuff. I was IT tech support for them, and oh, so many. They just had VPs, and they just kept creating more and more VPs. It was just all a total bros club. You know, I've always, you know, being in my masculine energy, you know, and I've seen that, but I'm a woman, so I respect women and myself, and so seeing just the seedy side, I've always seen it, I've never not. So when people are like, the world ain't like that, I'm like, what fucking bubble are you living in, people? What bubble are you living in? And NFL, pro sports, that is no different with the gazillions of dollars spent on that. I mean, hey, guess what? I just saw yesterday a kid, I mean, nobody can go anywhere. People are losing their livelihood left and right. But hey, a whole boy just got a $160 million deal for a 5-year contract. And it's like, you just sold your soul to the devil. You know, when people start playing with numbers like, you sold your soul to the devil. That's why I got my 51% rule, whatever abundance comes towards me. Because with my little stipend of VA, you know, and mom's contribution, you know, we got enough to pay our rent, so I don't need a lot to cover my overhead. I just need a place to go, you know. So, and I got a chunk of change right now that I can give to anybody if anybody wants to let us come live there, you know. Just, I'm trying to get, like, now I'm thinking about like trying to get a trailer and finding a place to park it, you know, kind of thing. So I would like more comfortable amenities for mom, but since, you know, all these non-for-profits, all these organizations, you know, that's the thing, is like that the lady that runs, I use that term loosely. She's no lady. I don't know what she is, the governor. I don't know what these politicians are, but they are not human beings in my book, because humans can't just, you know, care that much about money and just shit on people. I mean, people are losing their lives in Oregon, California. These 5 people, it's been happening forever because they didn't do the work. You know, they just paid themselves to do the work. All these land managements, and look at the forestry department. I saw some pictures, man. Look at those rigs, man. They're full on, like, military grade rigs. I bet they got showers on up in there. I bet they got freaking, you know, I bet you got wireless wired to each and every one. You got all the amenities, you know. Why do you use that shit to freaking clean the, you know, keep the lines clear and stuff like that? I know fires happen on accident, like those those dipshits down in Southern California that started that huge one because of a gender reveal. You know, it's like people don't think about how their actions are going to impact other people. They don't think. People just don't think. And so now this is the world we get. That people like me that think all the time. I'm always thinking solution, you know. Why are there, you know, just let the people of the neighborhood clean up their yard, you know, and then you don't have, you know, just let's keep it central. I got so many ideas, but that's why my ideas don't get heard, because, you know, there's no profit in that. There's no profit in my ideas. My ideas are just for the good of people, you know. How come I've never been nominated to run for any kind of freaking chair? How come I can't run? Maybe I should run. Where should I run? Does somebody want me to come and represent them anywhere? Because I know, there's 435 seats in Congress coming up? I wonder who's going to get those. Are we going to get more of the same? Because it's the same club, it's the same monkeys in the same circus going after the same prize. I don't know how this crazy story is going to end up. I really don't know. I don't want to know, because I had an idea of where my life would be when I was 45, and I'm not there now. I thought I was still going to be in IT, like in management, you know, and like having training and stuff, and doing training and stuff like that, you know. It didn't happen that way, but I don't fight anymore. The thing is, first year I lived here, first when I was out and heavy, you know, and just kept getting turned down for a job. Almost 100 times I got turned, and then I was like, you're unemployable in Oregon. You can't get a job, Marge. I couldn't get a job at Rite Aid, and I used to work at Rite Aid, you know, and I was just like, really? But it's always just me, right? It's always just me. And then I'm like, well, maybe people just don't like you, Marge. You know, but then I'm like, nah, it don't matter if they like me or not, because, Marge, remember how the first 40 years of your life you acted you acted in the way that people wanted you to act, because you would always comply. Don't act like that, Marge. Even your own family, Marge, don't act like that, Marge. Calm down. Stop it. I've been an embarrassment to my brother my whole entire life. He's in the position right now. He could help me. He can make phone calls. Get my sister a place. My sister needs a place to go. He is high up in California government. He's a lawyer. Ask him how important he is. He passes notes back and forth between Newsom. His office does. I don't know what office he's in anymore, because I don't want to know. Because he ain't no help to me. He ain't no help to me. He could help me. He and his wife, they make like freaking bank. They both have been working for the freaking state of California for years and years and years. And as we all know, they pay themselves freaking 6 figures. But he doesn't feel like it. I wonder what, I wish, you know what I even thought about? This is the thing that I used to do. Because I'm like, well, maybe I should write a letter to his commander. because everybody has a boss. Maybe I should write a letter to his boss and be like, dude, it don't look favorable if this is how the people in your government act. Because his sister and his own mother have not had running water. You know, it don't compute. Because the city didn't want to turn the knob. They didn't want to float a loan. They didn't want to float a balance. That's how it all started. They didn't want to float. No, just pay the bill. I can't. I'm trying to feed my mom and my dogs because the VA had threatened to pull my benefits, and I didn't have the income. So, which brought me to my next line of thinking, and then I'm thinking, and then I'm gonna be done. Is what is crazy and what is a nervous breakdown? Because when I was a little girl, I've had several near-death experiences. I've almost drowned. I have completed the circuit on an electric fence with very high voltage cow fences. That's how I learned, that's the first time I got electrocuted, like substantially. I don't like it. So every time either there's a physical trauma or emotional trauma, it's like charging a car battery, okay? It's like adding extra to your field, okay? So when you grow up, and if you have trauma and 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 trauma, and you live in an environment that's like, oh, you just don't talk about it, no wonder there are so many people on this planet that are just freaking vibrating and that they don't even know how to handle it. I am blessed because I was introduced to God, my higher power, from a very long time ago. I walked away from God. I walked back to God. I am with God. God has always looked out for me and Ma. He has never dropped us on our ass. He hasn't. I just got to stay in my faith. Sometimes my ego kicks in a little too much, and then here comes the fear. Here comes all that imposed stuff. You're gonna, it's not gonna, And so I gotta keep the negative thoughts out of my mind, because so many times in my life I thought about the worst thing in the possible world that I would think that would happen, and it has. So now I can't think about the worst possible things anymore. Now I try and think about the best possible outcome. A little place for me and Mom next to a little creek, and go out walking around in the morning and hanging out and and looking at birds, and picking up rocks and finding feathers, and then having people come over and and people traveling around, they can come hang out and visit and crash camp for a few days. We could just talk about stories and learn lessons, and then, I'm ready for community living, man. Who wants to do it? Who wants to go someplace and live communally, have our own places to retreat to, and then, because I can't live in a city. Things aren't going to be safe in cities here soon. Soon, very soon, but it's all divine timing, and I never liked that, because they used to try and say that my mom was crazy, and then so now my brother, I see that he's like, I see you're following it, but I never see, because to me, I always thought crazy was people that hurt people, that harm people, that people that don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. I always thought that those people were crazy. And people can be crazy by withholding affection. That's a crazy. Like, if you see a child that is whimpering and falls down and gets hurt, and you're just like, get up and freaking wipe it off and pull yourself together and blah blah blah. It's like, and you forget that you're talking to a child, and that child might be hurt, and then in the way that you show up in that child's life is a very, very good indicator of how that child can possibly show up for itself later, based on your good example. Yeah. So, hi Kijin. Yeah, I have to be careful. See, I never bought into, that's one thing I try not to do, is to allow people to define me. That's why I've gone and checked in with mental, counselors and stuff like that, because I've been under so much stress that I've just been like, well, I think I'm okay, but I just want to make sure I'm okay. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of crazy people, but I ain't never been violent. You have people that have like markers and stuff like that escalate. Now my pop gets bigger, but that's one thing. I've seen so much violence, and I know that it's caused because people are void of spirit. They don't have the spirit of God with me, and I can't drop that spirit of God. And I can't live with myself with the consequence if I put my anger, literally put my anger onto another living being. Unless, of course, it's self-defense, then I'm going to do it. And there's this whole, it's like, I always looked at the people that said, you're crazy. And I'm like, there's something in that. There's something wrong with them. The people that try to paint a dialogue and narrative, we had relatives. I think she's a cousin or something. She used to write for publicists, for textbooks, school books. And then I always wondered what made it true for them to put it into a book to teach us. Because when I was real little, they had like C. Dick and Jane, those little textbooks, right? And those are like stories. So in my mind, the history books, those are all just stories based on who is writing the book. And then media growing up, that's just based on the information that they're getting. But that ain't all the same for everybody else. For the same for everybody, because I've always, we were poor, but we got to go into the world of middle class, and sometimes upper class even, because Grandma was a real estate agent. So I was full spectrum from the whole time, because sometimes we'd be with Mom and go to, like Thanksgivings, our Thanksgivings. I talk about our 11-hour bus rides on Greyhound buses on Christmas days from the time I was 5-6 years old until I was 12, till I was like, I don't want to do this no more. And for the custody suit and stuff. And that's how I learned how to meditate, just staring out a window and just being chill and stuff, because it's like, you got to be calm because you got no place to go. And I've always had my Sony Walkman and stuff like that, and had my, drawing and just my contemplative, things, because I've been in a lot of positions in life that I didn't necessarily want to be in, that I was just kind of drug along and had to comply, and just in order to keep the peace, because for years and years I fought against it. I've been fighting for, and then I gave up the fight, and now I live in peace. And I'm trying to help other people find their peace within themselves, because you're not going to find it in anything out there. You're not going to find it in a person. I looked at it for years in a person, in relations with another person. If I could just find, I see how when people they find significant others, and it just makes them whole. But my life path was, I was supposed to make myself whole so I could meet my other whole. So that's why I've been working on real hard. And I know there's a lot of angry people in the world. There's more angry people in the world and hurt people than people that are living their best version of their life. And just don't pick up on other people's stuff, okay? Just try not to pick up other people's anger. That's what I really have to try, because I can be around people and feel they're angry and get angry off of them. I just can't react. Because we're all sensitive, and we're like, we're like particles in a like boiling pot, and you throw an ice cube in there. Is that ice cube gonna freeze the boiling pot, or is it gonna succumb to the boiling pot? So I know things are changing, and everything's becoming more magical, and we are getting to the days where that ice cube can freeze the boiling pot. It can. It's just more people have to believe that it can. We're all collective consciousness, and for the majority of the last 250 years, everybody's been looking at the same idea. You go to work, you get married, you have some kids, maybe go see a ball game, camping, do the week, and then it's every year you do the same thing, and then people got stuck in this loop. And there's no spirit in the loop. We're freaking glorious, magical freaking beings, man. And we can create heaven on earth. Now's our chance. Now's our chance more than any other time. We can do it. We can freaking... God can win. Satan can lose. A woman I know and I respect a great deal put up a meme. And she was absolutely right. It's like, this Satan is living out loud. People watch Lucifer. I mean, Satan is just like mainstream too. And yet people, you know, I fell for it too. And I knew about this symbolism. I grew up watching Bugs Bunny and stuff like that. So I never caught the satanic thing that they do with the one arm up thing, you know, and stuff like that. But I've always looked into symbolism. I remember when Procter and Gamble, when Larry, my mom's boyfriend, on the back of the toothpaste, they had like the 13. There was a sign on it. So I've always been looking for signs and codes and stuff like that. There's another meme I saw with the JFK saluting. Like, it was something about when he was at his dad's funeral and he was saluting, and I made a comment. I'm like, isn't it weird those kids are wearing red shoes? And then they're like, oh, we see brown shoes with red laces, is what the person that wrote it on. I'm like, listen, dude. I think there's probably a good side to red shoes. Like, it has to exist. Like, even the ruby red slippers, they get you home. So, I mean, there's positive and negative in everything, in all things. I don't even think I own a pair of red shoes. I got like 65 pairs of Vans. One of them's probably red. A couple of them are probably red, you know. And I even had torment about that because shoes are made from leather and leather from cows, and I like cows. But it's just like, come on, Marge. You can put yourself in a box, or you can, you know, make allowances for yourself, kind of a thing, right? So, but my point to them was, I'm like, dude, see, that's not my point. Is like, I don't think that all red shoes are related to freaking, you know, is that, and so we can't look at look at everybody and demonize everybody that has a red pair of red shoes on. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I tried to watch Lucifer. I had to. And because that's the thing, is because I watch one in, and I'm like, I see what they're doing. They're glorifying. I can see how they're making him look like a good guy. Like he's trying to, you know, I see, but he's still not a good guy. See, and that's the thing about being Heyoka and empath and stuff like that, is that I gotta be reminded on careful, because it is dark to manipulate people. And as a Heyoka, I want to do things to make people feel better. But still, if I'm tampering with somebody's free will, all I can do is give recommendations, you know, of what works for me. I'm not going to be the one that tells people what to do, because I don't know if that's going to be in alignment with them or not. See what I mean? You know, it might be if it works for me, and if we're like very, very close in alignments. What are you saying there, homie? What you got there, homie? If you know your true intentions, you can rock it. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I could rock some red shoes. I got freaking gnarly ass calves too, because I always walk on my toes. Yeah. Hi Frida. Thank you. Thank you. I got the. Thank you for the. I love them. They love them. So. I'm okay with crazy. That's the thing. It's like, what is crazy? It's like crazy is people that can understand more perspectives and more ways of thinking than just the imposed one that they're giving, you know? I don't believe in words like crazy. Because it's like all the stuff that Mom said, all the stuff that you know, they said that she was crazy about. I'll give you a little example. It kind of goes in line with the bully story that I told about me with the kid that was tormenting me, and I threw a rock and broke his reflector in defending myself. I didn't hit him, I hit his bike, broke it. Anyway, so that same thing happened to my mom. She was probably 26, 27. No, she was older than that, because I was probably 4 or 5, so 27, 28. I can't remember. She was 50s. Too many numbers right now. And a man, we were involved in the custody suit. Now they'd done things like took us when my mom had a doctor's appointment. So I ain't never believed in HIPAA and patient client, because if people want to know stuff about people, they find out about stuff. I remember when a woman I know, she had hung herself. She had committed suicide, and it was her thyroid. They found out. I mean, they at the autopsy. I don't know how I got to know, the privilege to know what was in her, private autopsy report. So it was her thyroid was enlarged, and that's third throat chakra stuff. We're all energy, and everything's woo-woo, and then when people start thinking woo-woo, like in Woke on Hulu, then they don't know how to deal, because they've just always been relied on the indoctrination that they've got. So, I went off on a tangent there. So Mom and her motorcycle, so we've been taken from a doctor's office when Mom had a checkup. And my aunt came and said, your mom called and said, we're supposed to come, I'm supposed to, and then we didn't see her for 8 months until we passed her on the street in the back of my grandma's car. They saw us, because they told her that they'd move us out of state. They put her through hell, man. That's why I'm trying so hard to take such good care. They put her through. Anyway, so we were driving in Santa Margarita. That's outside at Atascadero, and there's a man, and the car had broken down, and Mom wanted to get off the road, so because she didn't want anything that was about to happen like this happen, so she got all of our stuff, and then we went up into some trees, and we're hanging out in the shade and getting a little snack to eat, and then she was going to go get help trying to find someone to help her fix the car. So when she went out and checked the car, and then the man was driving by, and then Jerry and I came out to see what the problem was, and he was just driving, and he had been drinking, and he was just trying to drive, and he was just tormenting her. And finally she had picked up, there was a chain, and then she picked up the chain and swung at the motorcycle and hit his light and broke his light. She broke his light too. Isn't that funny? And Mom did the same story I did. And she broke his light, and then he called the police, and then they took us away from her again. And they put her in Tascadero, and she was just defending us. You know what I mean? And it's like, so programs and police and judges and all that stuff. This was back in the 70s. It was a club then. It was all who you know and what you know. And now it's just gotten way, way worse. But see, you got the controllers that just say, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. But the reality of it is like Clinton, ain't nobody talking about, oh, girl having to get up on the stand, I hope maybe they carried her off. I saw one article yesterday about her taking the stand. And the judge was like, no, you got to come in. We got more questions than you have answered, and now is the time. 2020, the year of clear vision, dude, it's happening. How many of us have been waiting for her to get, And that's, and truth has a vibration, and that is a high vibration. And Satan has a low vibration, and because of fear is low vibrational, it has been made to keep the planet down here. But now people are getting through all their scary stuff, so she's raising, and so now we're going to get to live more in truth. And it's beautiful. It's just scary, man, because freaking, dude, nobody wants to freaking realize who the creepy pervertins are. And they're, you know what, frankly, ain't none of them. I mean, it's like people that I've watched, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I haven't, like, kept on my radar in years. Like, oh yeah, I don't really like Will Ferrell. Never really liked Will Ferrell. Never really. There's like a John Legend song that I downloaded and have since deleted. I can't even listen to All of Me. I can't even freaking. It just makes me want to throw up in my mouth. I mean, it's just people know who feels good based on how they behave and act, and they know who just gives you the heebie-jeebies. Oh, Go spend time with your grandson. That is so I can't wait till mom gets to hang out with her granddaughter. I can't freaking wait. Crazy is open mind. So I appreciate you all spending time with me and plugging in today. Keijin, it's good to see you. Ginger Crow, it has been a club, and it's all falling down. Keep fighting the good one. Keep your vibes high. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna get off here, and my intentions for today is to go make mom breakfast next. I made her some toast, and then probably load some garbage up, take it out to the dump if the dump isn't being evacuated. I don't think it is. Like I said, the air quality is better. I know that there's loss of life, and I pray for those families that have that have lost their loved ones and under such scary circumstances, and know that when they were not alone, because people like with me, we go in there energetically, and we will just be with people in their time of darkness so that they aren't scared. So there's a lot of us light workers out here, a lot of us spiritual beings that are here to help, that have been through a lot, that are here to escort us through the higher the higher dimensions, the higher echelons of grace, that aren't always familiar or comfortable to people that haven't really been versed in these feelings. So and just try and be patient and kind and loving to each and every one you cross paths with today. What I'm going to try and do is not think about the fact, because I don't think there's 7 billion people on this planet. I think they way inflate the numbers. They inflate everything else because ego people do that. And I've been in IT for a real long time, and I know how data works, and it replicates, and it freaking multiplies, and it freaking stacks on itself, and before you know it, this is the world we get. So don't rely on too much numbers. Just live locally. Live in every engagement that you have with and within that other person that you meet, and try and leave every occasion better than how you found it, and then we'll see what we can do with this world. Thanks a lot. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.